decision to open the office was not a hard one. I just had to wait for the right market I wanted to do it in. I've always sort of had that aspiration, and coming in through corporate and seeing a lot of people ahead of me do it, it was always definitely an aspiration of mine to own my own office. So that sort of decision process wasn't a hard one. I was just waiting for the right area to come up to do it in. The reason why I chose Balmain is it's a $1 billion market. You can sell out of Balmain, but it's very hard to sell into Balmain. So as far as the inner west goes, it's the place you want to be in the inner west. So for us, if we can get a 30 or 40% market share, we're going to be writing $3 or $4 million a year in fees for sales. So it just came down to numbers for me. I was definitely anxious the fact that I'd never sold a house here. I was very anxious about that. When we first opened, everyone said, "Oh, you're mad to go into Balmain. It's the most competitive market." And that was the public, that was friends, that was other agents in the area. "Oh, mate, tough market. You won't do well, rah rah." And within 10 months, the traction we've had has been quite good. We're lucky with this position. We thought we'd missed out on it. We got it. It's just off the beaten track. So it's still on Darling Street, which is a thoroughfare. You don't need to pay premiums to be in the absolute, heart of it, but and just off it. So we pay about 50% less than what we would if this shop was 300 metres up the road. Based on the way we fit out and what we perceive to the market, our top end the top end of the market has really been attracted to us. Likes attract alike. So I think our perception has been sensational because if we can get the top end properties, we can get the $800,000 houses. So we sort of tick that box, and we're very relevant in that top end. And I don't know if that has something to do with where we're located. We're in the gateway to Balmain East and Birchgrove, which are average prices of sort of 1.5 plus. So from that point of view, I think our market traction has been very strong. Emily's background is property management now. She does sell and sells very well, and my role's always been in that sales. So we talk a lot about the fact that whatever Emily wants to do in property management, I say yes to, and whatever I want to do from a sales point of view, she says yes to. So from that, we had very distinct. Emily's role is to grow the rent roll, also be a salesperson inside of the business, and my role is to sell, not as much, and to look after the to grow that side of the business and to make it bigger and better. The things I was excited about was obviously the challenge that I knew that was ahead of me. I was looking forward to hopefully changing the way that things were done. I think real estate is at a very interesting point at the moment, and what I mean by that is I think it's ripe for change. I think that especially in areas like this, the average age of real estate agents dropping here, drastically, and I really think that we have an opportunity to change the way that things are done and really be different to everyone else. So that's what really got me excited about coming in here. It took me 9 months as a business owner to actually start to feel comfortable, and it's all to do with money. And I feel comfortable. I know I can sell houses, I know I can do that, but I feel a lot more like I've lost weight since that started happening. I've started sleeping better. All jokes aside, I've now feel, it was October. It was the start of October when I saw our pipeline. I knew what was coming in November. I knew what's settling. We're going to settle 200 grand at least between now and sort of the 15th of December. So that's sort of what we've settled in the first 8 months. We're going to settle now in the final 2 months or final 3 months. So from that point, that is when I started to feel like I can now make decisions based on my vision, not on my bank account. We didn't have a lot of capital. We had hardly any capital, which is good, because if it was there, we would have spent it. And I reckon we would have been in exactly the same position whether we had 50 grand, whether we had 150 or 200 grand sitting in our general account, I reckon we would have spent it. So from that point of view, I say, people say I never have enough. Like you never have enough, but what you work out quickly is you do just get things happening straight away. We don't have a phone system here. We just have a landline that came with the place, and actually the same phone system that was here when we had it. It's just a home phone. I can charge just a Telstra home phone, and we got a quote of about 4 or 5 grand to put a phone system in. It's amazing that when you don't ring out on it, it never rings. So the fact we don't have a receptionist here, or that I sit on reception, or that we all take it in turns to answer the phone, and we don't have a phone system, the market doesn't even know, because the bit the market sees is sexy and polished and things like that. So I think that's the most important thing that hasn't hurt us at all, because this bit's right. This is our image to the market. And we have been called in to places and won listings purely on the fact of what our office looks like. To get a lease and to spend another 100 grand fitting a place out. It's just a waste of money. So we have this shop that we're in now, and we did things like we polished the concrete floors that were here. Instead of paying to resurface it all, that cost us $500 just to polish this front office bit. You've got to find a good builder. We were blessed that we did find a really good builder that understood what we were trying to do and understood that we don't have much money, and we said to people, we're going to grow a rent roll, so we're not saying we don't want you to do it for free, but we want you to help us out, and we will guarantee you that you will pick up work from us, from our rent roll, from our vendors, from our businesses. So you've got to get people to buy into your dream, the vision, because we are nothing, like we're just a shell in an office. So that we were lucky. Macquarie, Westpac didn't want to borrow us, but Macquarie bought into the dream, and because they want to mortgage your children and things like that. So we paid no bank fees for the first year, which is clever on their behalf, because when you're going to do the lease transactions in the first year, but that's a saving of about $1,000 in bank fees that we didn't have to pay. Obviously, the payment gateway system, I just don't understand. Some people use that Deft system, which is inside of Macquarie. There's a free version that you can charge a tenant, or there's one that they wanted to charge us. So we're using that free system. So our bank fees are zero. So we did a cheap fit out. We had no phone system, we had no server, no bank fees in the first year, second-hand photocopier where we negotiated very competitive rates against them, and we did have a rent-free period of only a month, just because Balmain's very mum and dad sort of investors. It's not like your big corporations and things like that. We were positioned perfectly to open this place on a shoestring budget, because I've seen all the cost-saving initiatives that our whole network have done. So $2.5 grand's $2.5 grand. And if you can find 100 $2.5 grands, you'll save yourself 250 grand a year. I definitely wish I had a little bit more of an accounting sort of background. And what I mean by that is I wish I maybe did one or two accounting courses, because I really went from being a PAYG employee to now I sign the checks, and along with Emily, we're running trust accounts that get audited, and we're holding up to $1 million sometimes of people's money in trust. Like I really wish that I spent some more time thinking about that. And the other thing too is I would have got concierge to start. Concierge started making calls for us in late November. I would have started that 2 or 3 months earlier, so we were 2 or 3 months more ahead and had a bigger database coming into when we first open. So that's definitely 2 or 3 things that I wish I knew, but before I started. My advice is to have your finger on the pulse. We're small. My next challenge is going to be when we get 3 times the size. Can I still have the same processes in place that I have in today to help me save the money? And will I not spend the capital that we get because it's just sitting in there? So they're my next challenges. But my advice to someone is just to do it and just live in it, and just pretend like you're 18 and you're going to university. And I think it's not as hard as you think it's going to be, and it's just as hard as you imagine. So just get into it and just do it. And once you're there and once you're immersed in it, off you go.